Welcome. I got this video I'm going to be editing, and we're going to be doing some color correction here. I walked outside and I looked over to my right when I was leaving my door, and I noticed there were some birds chirping. So I kind of took a peek over there and set the camera up for just a short while, and I had it actually out there for about an hour, but the mama bird or papa bird or whatever it was who was feeding these little chicklings or little birdlings or whatever you call them didn't come back only but a few times in that hour. So I actually captured it here. We just loaded it up so it's conforming. About 11 minutes in is where the bird comes back. So it's kind of cool. So I'm going to get some before right there. They do some cute little things there, and then move on. So got about a 5-minute clip. I'm going to go ahead and just bring a new sequence in. Let's take a look. Alrighty, we are in Adobe Audition CS6, my tilde key, and here is the clip we're going to be color grading. This is set outside. I had the camera on automatic, and this was a Canon, what was it, a Canon, well, it's slipping my mind now. Vixia HG20, that was the camera used. So again, set on automatic mode. XP, it was the setting for record. There's MXP, XP, and different other settings. So this was like the third highest setting. So here, and I had the tripod fully extended, and to get above the nest I would have needed another 1.5 feet at least, but this seemed to be a pretty cool shot. And they know when the mom or papa was coming with the food, because like I said, they all got ready and they got all excited. Alright, so you can see the finished video by clicking on the link in the description. Let's go ahead and grade it. Now we can do it. I like to work on shortcuts, so I believe Alt-Shift-2 is my color grading. You can find out what shortcut spaces you have in here. These go in alphabetical order, so if you have other spaces it's going to change. But color correction, Alt-Shift-2 for now is what I have. So, got my effects here. What I'm going to be doing first is Luma. I'm going to be making sure my Luma's in broadcast safe. It's a good habit that I have from doing television products here, so I'll get the screen nice and big. So I'm going to grab my Luma curve, drag it. I don't need to see the waveform that much for the audio. Drag it on top. Now I'm looking at my effects controls. I'll drag this over here. I have my Luma curve, and I'm just going to bring down this top right curve or slope here to the right about there. We do have some blown out spots here where my mouse is. These little dots here where the light's coming through. This was recorded at about 7 o'clock in the evening, and it sat out there to about 8. So it wasn't exactly bright as midday. It was perfect because it didn't blow out everything. We do have some space in here where we can actually bring out some colors, deepen these greens up. We can get to the point where the birds are actually feeding. Find out where that is in the video. Alright. Here we go. So now we have some grays, some blacks to work with, and a little bit of yellow right here. So we're going to go ahead and bring up, actually, let me reset that. A good habit to get into is start with the darks. You bring your darks up to the 0 line here. Now this is if you're NTSC and you're working with digital video, not analog. Analog would be 7.5 IRE. That would be at this little dotted line. I'm going to bring this up, and then I'm going to get my dark colors down here. Got some shadows, a little bit of shadows in here, some really dark stuff. Not too much, but if you look Brings it down just a slight bit, which is fine. Now I'll go to my top. And bring those into broadcast safe. Cool. So I'm just going to do that with that one. I'm not going to do anything more with that curve. Because then I'm going to bring in RGB curves. Because this is going to take care of color as well as luminance. So here I can actually do a little S curve and it's going to work on the colors. Really darken, make some contrast there. You see how it crushes those greens. And I can bring this out. You can kind of see that here. Now this is shot in AVC HD, which isn't exactly the best for color grading and color correction. It doesn't give you a lot of room. There's not a lot of dynamic range in that file. It's meant to be just recorded and played back. But there is a little bit. So what you get is artifacting when you really try to stretch it and push it to the limits. So depending on your monitor, you'll see something different from what I'm actually seeing. And that's why we go ahead and use our waveforms here to really take a look, make sure we're not actually overblown or undershot. Now here I can, if I brought down the greens, it might become more blue. Yeah, see, that would look really weird. You can kind of do some cool things to it. We can boost the greens to add a little bit, make a little bit of warm tone. I wouldn't do that there. Actually add an adjustment layer. So go back to workspace, editing workspace, create an adjustment layer, 2 of them. And this is a cool way you can use blend modes. Click on there, let's go 1, 2. And zoom in to stretch that out. So this is the process, you know. A lot of people are like, what happens behind the scenes? And this is just one little clip here. I didn't come into this really with any type of reference or what I was going to do. Just like to play around with it a little bit and see what I can make out of it. So I'll go ahead and work on the first one. I'm going to go click on Effects, Controls, Opacity. We got blend modes in here. Do a little soft light. And then bring down the opacity on that soft light. That's going to even make it more dark. So if I clicked on this clip, turned off. Here we go. Get back to here. You can do this almost the same thing with blend modes. Working on soft light. Really bring it all the way up. Now the other layer you're going to drop down and maybe do like a screen or a hard light. Let's do a screen here. Well, it's going to click the layer on first. So go back to screen. Then you go back to hard light. And that really makes it dark in those shadow areas. A lot of contrast right there. What about a little bit of color dodge? Kind of give it a... Now this is blending with the layer below it. So if I shut this off, it'd be a little bit different. So it all depends on kind of, you know, what you're going for. Lighten it up. Doesn't really do much there. Multiply. Vivid. Now that's super high contrast. Whoa. Really brings out the mother right here, or the father, or whatever it is. These are brown thrashers, and they're both known to actually take care of the nest. I see two of them flying around looking for worms, nuts, and everything. Hop around on the ground mostly, and sit on top of the roofs of the houses nearby. Let's go with the hard light. Really make that contrast stick out. There we go. Go back to this one here. That kind of looks cool. Turn off all the effects altogether. That's the original. With a little bit of Luma curve correction, and then here you go. So that's a 5-minute clip. Mama bird comes in. About right there. Probably start that a little bit sooner. For the sake of the viewers who want to check it out. And drop that. I don't have my shortcut set up on this system. But there is a tops and tails shortcut where you can select it, and it'll cut it, move it, instead of doing all three of those. And there we go. And then they're just going to hang out for a little bit. I think they fluff up and then bed down. So, video itself really doesn't need to be any longer than that, unless people want to listen to what a housing development sounds like. So render that out, file, export. This is going to get thrown up on YouTube, so I'll go H.264. Scroll down to the bottom of the list. Put it up there at HP. Audio is going to be stereo in this particular case. Video, progressive, bitrate encoding, 2-pass. I'm not doing any keyframes, so I turn off keyframe blending. A lot of times I'll turn off and do a constant bitrate, but for this sake, I'll just go ahead and leave this. Color grading here. So I can just put birds getting fed in nest brown. It's the thrashers. Can add it to a queue in case I wanted to do more edits and different styles. If I want to continue on and maybe just wait till I encode it, but in this case I'll just hit play. And now I can actually continue editing other projects while this is working. So that's that. A little bit of color correction and exporting on Adobe CS6. Now get some CC 2014 is out. A lot of great new tools and upgrades in that system. I have CS6. I use CC. So use them all, learn them, enjoy.